Have you ever had that feeling like you're just playing a part in your own life? You know, that the person you show the world isn't really you? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore, the architecture of our own authenticity.
This quote really just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? So often we're not just living, we're performing. We're putting on a show for our colleagues, our families, maybe even our closest friends. But what's the real cost of being on stage all the time? So here's our game plan. We're going to start by breaking down what this performance of life really looks like. Then we'll dive into the high price we pay for being inauthentic. We'll look at how we actually override our own nature, and then, the good part, we'll explore the power of alignment and finally, how to start becoming instead of just performing. Okay, let's jump right in. Part 1, the performance of life, or as I like to call it, the masks we wear. I mean, think about it. You've probably got your work mask, right? And then there's the family dinner mask and the night out with friends mask. Each one is a slightly different version of you, kind of tailored to get approval or to fit in, or, let's be honest, just to feel safe. The problem is, when you're constantly switching masks, it gets really easy to forget what your own face feels like underneath. So, what's the big deal? A few different masks, who cares? Well, that brings us to our next section, and this is where it gets serious. We're talking about the cost of inauthenticity, and let me tell you, it's a massive, massive energy drain. To really get why it's such an energy drain, we have to talk about something called your natural frequency. Think of it as your authentic internal signal. It's your unique rhythm. It's how you think, how you feel, how you act when you're not trying to be anyone else. It's the real you. This visualizes that internal conflict perfectly. On one side, you have the outer self. That's the part that performs, the one that's always seeking approval. But on the other side, the inner self gets compressed, pushed inward. It starts to get this message that it's just not enough. And that's what creates this huge division right inside of us. In this division, it's not just some philosophical idea. It has real, tangible consequences. This is where so much of that anxiety, that fatigue, that feeling of emptiness comes from. It's not always because life is just too hard, but because we are living too far away from ourselves. So, how in the world does this even happen? How do we actively suppress our own nature? Well, let's break it down in section 3. It's a pretty distinct step-by-step process, overriding your natural frequency. Look at how this unfolds. It all begins with a simple choice. We decide to imitate someone else or please others instead of listening to that inner signal. That choice then sends a powerful message inward. Who I truly am is not enough. And that creates the division we just talked about. The performer takes over while the true self gets compressed. And the final result? Pure exhaustion, because we are literally overriding our own nature. Okay, that sounds pretty heavy, I know. But here's the good news. This is not a life sentence. We can absolutely turn this around. So let's shift gears and talk about the solution in section 4, the power of alignment, and how we can start reclaiming all that lost energy. And this right here, this is the turning point. Real power doesn't come from putting on a better performance. No, it comes from alignment. That incredible feeling when your outer actions finally match your inner truth. Just imagine for a second the sheer mental and emotional effort it takes to maintain a false front all day, every day. It's exhausting. But when you let that go, when you allow yourself to be honest, even if it's messy or imperfect, all of that wasted energy is suddenly freed up. It stops propping up a persona and starts flowing right back to you. And here's this amazing side effect: authenticity. It's kind of like a tuning fork for your life. When you start vibrating at your true frequency, the right people and the right opportunities, the ones that actually resonate with that energy, they're naturally drawn to you. You stop chasing and you start attracting. So let's bring all this together. What's the practical path forward? That's what our final section is all about. Becoming, not performant. This just puts it all in perspective. Look at the two columns. Pretending, yeah, it brings short-term approval, but it drains your energy. Authenticity, on the other hand, brings lasting fulfillment. It reminds you that you are the source of your own value. One path requires becoming someone else. The other simply requires knowing yourself. So how do we make this shift? It's all about redirecting our attention inward. We stop imitating and we start listening. We stop trying to please everyone and we start honoring our own feelings. We stop trying to prove our worth and we just start experiencing our own lives. That's how our energy comes back to us. You know, this gives us a totally new definition of growth. It's not about reshaping ourselves into someone more acceptable. Real growth is about stripping away the performance to become more fully and unapologetically who you've been all along. So, this leaves us with one final, really crucial question to ponder. Is all this exhaustion we feel coming from a performance we never really signed up for, or are we finally ready to redirect that energy into the powerful, life-giving process of simply allowing ourselves to become?